Anyway, sorry, welcome back, everyone. We had a crash, so those of you guys watching on the VOD, it was just a little bit of a hiccup there for you guys watching the stream. Apologies for us going down. We just crashed for seemingly no reasons. Computers, they're just not stable. So we are going to be having a support slaughter in this game for MVP Phoenix. Febby has already picked that up and gone for the quick play on the ward, blocking out the camp. We've seen this quite a lot from many supports, TPing out to mid or bottom tier 1s and trying to get that early ward down before the enemy can spot you out. The bottom lane's going to be a Darkseer. We do have the Bane, who's probably going to be roaming around a little bit between top and middle. We've seen this really has been the rise of supports who have really paid attention to a little bit more protecting the laning phase of the mid. Winter Wyverns, Banes, these kind of heroes at level 1 are quite strong at harassing the enemy. QL is going to be playing the mid Phantom Assassin. We've got Solo Rank Warrior at the top lane, Tiny. Ohio's going to be our off lane here on the Doom. Not terribly surprising. DJ is actually going to be on the Night Stalker, Net on the Ancient Apparition. ADTR is going to be farming up that mid lane on the Invoker, and bottom, Mushi will be farming away there against the AM.
Do you think this TP to lane and ward early thing is okay? I've heard some people suggest that they should like nerf TP scroll so you can't use it in the first minutes, so that people have to at least like fight it out if they want to do these early warders.
It would be okay if the Radiant pull camp wasn't so goddamn hard to counter ward.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So then maybe the best alternative is just to like balance the camp slightly, make them like equally difficult to counter ward.
Yeah, I think that if you just close the box in of this Radiant side camp, maybe you still keep the Magic Bush ward, but you don't make it go as far to the right or something. And that way it makes it much easier to counter ward, because right now it's like you actually need 3 counter wards to make sure that pull is available, and obviously no one's going to be buying 2 pairs of counter wards in the beginning of the game. So when you only have 2 to work with, you just kind of like, well, hope we get the right spot, you know, and we'll see whether or not this one is found.
I actually think that this is part of the reason why we started seeing most games starting with dual lanes in the mid, because I think supports realized, well, I'm going to sit here wasting my time trying to counter, I might fail. What if I just like kind of... So if you're running the aggressive dual lane, and then you send one support to the mid lane, just start off there harassing, and as a result, the Dire side will bring their support as well. I mean, it doesn't always go that way around. Sometimes the Dire side wants to harass and the Radiant brings, but there's this kind of equalizing factor where one team knows the other team's going to have support mid, so they have to bring their support mid, and in the end it's almost like, couldn't we have just made an agreement that neither of us have our support mid?
Bounty runes. Let's see. Febby's actually going for the quick steal here at the bottom lane. He will be able to get it. Will take a lot of damage in return, but it's well worth it keeping that bounty rune out of the control of the Invoker. Nice pickup there by Febby.
Yeah, and Forev actually just blocking the mid lane quickly for Cure, but I think he's going to be heading down to Febby to set up the dual lane with Darkseer and Slaughter, which is a pretty scary dual lane for an anti-mage and an Ancient Apparition to deal with, actually, I would say. Yeah. I mean, there's not that much kill potential on anti-mage because of his blink, but the Ancient Apparition needs to watch out.
What do you think about this mid matchup? QO should be able to do pretty well, I think. If we went for, I'm presuming, do you think this is just one level of Exort? Oh, what? The Ancient Apparition goes down in the bottom lane.
He was not being careful. Did not take my advice. Very early death. But yeah, on the mid lane, I think Cure should be fine. I think that at worst PA can just trade farm here, but more likely than that PA could actually even stress an Invoker.
Still gonna go on bottom here. Febby might die to this last hit from Mushi. So low. Looks like, oh, he does manage to get off another hit. That was surprising. Forev, he's gonna be chased down underneath the tower. Looks like he's gonna go down as well. So Fnatic do give very swift revenge against that aggro dual lane. They fed away first blood on the Ancient Apparition, but strike back pretty quick, which means DJ gets a much fast level 2. He's already got boots and a wand, so he's actually looking pretty good for that first nighttime, despite having to be in a defensive tri-lane. If they continue to get more kills like this, our Night Stalkers should be doing all right.
So I started looking in the mid lane. Did Slaughter and Darkseer like try and take on the fights initially there? Like, how did they both end up dying?
The Night Stalker came in, like, they basically both were sitting, you know, next to the creep wave because they're like, oh, we're fearless with the double ion shells. It's all good. And then the Night Stalker came in from the side, and they got a 3-man chilling touch setup.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was just like all of a sudden that damage just overwhelms, one hero instantly if 3 different heroes hit you. It's just too much to handle. So they went for the Slardar first, which I think was smart. Obviously, if you're going for the Darkseer, Slardar is going to play forward and stun you, and there's going to be some element of counterplay. But if they could just force the Slardar out immediately, Darkseer can't really respond. So
have you seen Febby's skill build here? The 1-1-1.
Oh, he went for the value level of Bash. Not a big fan.
Yeah, this is so. I got into some debate on Twitter recently about this with some other analyst people, and actually Moonmeander came and liked some people's comments. So that was interesting because he's a big Slardar player. I mean, the argument for the early bash is usually that you can manipulate it a bit, so you get a whole lot of hits on creeps and you're not bashing, and then after 5 non-bashes, actually if I hit a hero now, it's actually substantially higher chance than 10%. But even so, it feels like early on you just want that guaranteed value. So I would agree with you. I'm not a fan at all.
Yeah, I really think that it's so critically important, especially for me mid lane. A little bit of charge here. I'm just so scared of missing another kill. I think that it's so critically important for Slardar to have that movement speed advantage, otherwise he's just not really a hero. And early on when you're looking at, most of the time Slardar's not going to get free farm, right? So boots are going to be a little bit slow. Even upgraded boots, right, are going to be quite delayed compared to, the enemy core, which is probably always going to have an advantage on you, whether it's boots, upgraded boots, whatever. So I think it's really important for you. I mean, we've seen Slardar's max out sprint before they go for the stun. And I really think there's just too much value in that ability. Yeah, I mean, it's the only reason he's really a hero right now is that sprint is just so always strong. It seems to be ever
always active. There's no downtime. It's insane. I agree. I think it's actually more important to get that second sprint point than the second stomp point. Even though usually people go 2 in the stomp at level 3. If you are going to go for the bash, then at level 4, I almost feel like you have to go sprint. So I'm interested to see what he'll do.
The bounty rune was picked up by the Night Stalker because of those early kills we were talking about at the bottom lane. DJ is actually level 3 by minute 4, which is quite good for a support Night Stalker. Now, Ohio is only level 2, but combined they can actually beat this perhaps dual lane scenario. We've got a Tiny at level 5. His nukes are pretty deadly, but both these heroes are quite tanky, almost sitting at 700 HP apiece. They probably want to try and go on the Bane first, obviously. If they can somehow catch him out. Sleep comes forward. Solo rank warrior thinks this is the opportunity to pounce. He's still going to go on to Ohio. Tosses back into the tower, but DJ is going to be fine, and it's actually solo rank warrior who's in some serious troubles. They're just going to be able to chase him down. It looks like Avalanche, another Void, and they do get the kill. Ohio will be the turnaround. Dubu's able to get that one. Meanwhile, at the bottom lane, looks like we had a massive fight. The Animage was able to pick up the Slardar, but at the same time, they did manage to get the Ancient Apparition.
And in the mid lane at the same time, Cure actually went on ADTR, got cold snapped and ran away. Interesting choice, he didn't pop his DD rune, so I'm wondering if he's going to go back onto him now with the cold snap cooling down, but it's got a short cooldown, it's going to be ready again very soon. He jumped onto him, hit him twice, but didn't use the DD.
Oh, Tiny picks up the Night Stalker in the top lane. Really expected him to be going back to middle lane. I'm still waiting on that DD you were talking about because QO could just jump ADTR, and if he's a little bit lucky, just double crits or something insane like that, he could just get the kill. One shot. TPN from the Night Stalker.
And Chrissy's actually been a bit of a hero to this team, I think, in their reinventing of themselves. Just kind of taking one for the team, going back to that support role. It's not really his preferred role, but it is a role he can play.
Hey, Stream.
And so higher.
Dubu is completely out of mana here, so he may be run down. Dubu is going to have to stand and fight because he knows he's got his mid coming in with that double damage. DJ trying to chase around the trees. He does have Brain Sap now, so there's no chance that DJ could get this kill. And got to be careful of that DD crit, so he'll back himself away. Meanwhile, the bottom lane, they do actually get a nice little double stack here, and they're going to farm that up. QO still going on to DJ, but again, no crits, and it's going to be met by Ohio with the Cold Snap and the Scorched Earth. It is a rather powerful duo that makes it so our Phantom Assassin isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, if we call QO a Feast and Famine player, that was a Famine play. That was he could see, he couldn't see Doom, but he could see Invoker. And he went on a Night Stalker at night with the Invoker standing right in front of him.
He's probably just thinking in his head, you know, I hit him a couple times. I'm sure that crit is just, it's coming up in the next hit. I've got it. Jumps
yeah, and it's
in,
possible. And those are the kind of plays that Q actually goes for, and when they work out, it looks incredible. So.
But QO is now a bit behind. Invoker slightly ahead in experience, but it's going to be that farm of QO that's going to be a bit unsettled. He doesn't have the highest CS in the world, only 30 and 5. Invoker slightly ahead of him, 34 and 13, a nice number of denies there.
Q is a player that's, I feel, difficult to criticize because the same kind of players that look really poor sometimes by him are exactly the same kind of players that sometimes like dramatically put his team ahead.
Jesus, Febby just gets destroyed there for M. He knows he's going to have to fight this one. He stands underneath the wall. The ultimate goes down from Mushi, though, and they are able to get that kill. So a double at the bottom lane. Once again, the Ancient Apparition Chilling Touch, even at level 1, proves to be too powerful for any sort of aggro situation to deal with up the top lane. Are they going to be able to one-shot Ohio? The combination is more than enough. Solo rank Warrior picks up another kill.
Starts to explain how Ancient Apparition died first blood in that lane. Probably thinking we're much stronger in this lane, not expecting Slaughter and Doxa to go for that early kill, and since then proven that actually the AA lane is stronger.
They're trying to bait it out right now. DJ, yeah, he's underneath that kind of word. He realizes now, but it might be too late. The brain sap's already there. Febby's going to look for that stun. Will be able to get it onto DJ, and that will be the kill. Ohio's here with the Scorched Earth, but the sleep will slow him down, and Febby gets out successfully. Nice bait there from QO. They had the ward and counter ward. Saw the Night Stalker the whole entire time, and with rotations from top and bottom, managed to counteract that attempted gank.
You can almost see every time Kyo shoots out a dagger, like he's revving the engine. He's like he wants to go and he's holding himself back. And I feel like PA is actually a really good hero for him to play in that sense, as long as he can control himself till the first few items, and then it actually works really well if you've got like a keen sense of when to snowball and when to go in. But in this bot lane, it looks like there's going to be Night Stalker rotating again, another Chilling Touch, and maybe another attempt on Slaughter or Dox here.
Mushi pairing up with Farev now. Does pick up a nice little stun here on Mushi, but it's not going to be enough to get a kill, obviously. Farev is going to be chased away as well. Finished up the Tranquil Boots, though, on the Slaughter, and that'll mean a lot, especially since he didn't go for those levels of sprint. The increased movement speed is going to help him out quite a bit.
Something I like about both of these teams is, and this has been the case for the longest time, for almost a year now, the top teams in Southeast Asia, and particularly these two teams, are not ones to shy away from a fight after losing the previous one. They just go back in and say, well, look, something went wrong that one, we'll get it right this one. And I mean, often you see some teams, I think, in the West do, after losing a big fight, a little bit afraid to take the next fight, want to maybe farm it up, and it's not the case at the top of SEA Dota at all. Like, both teams are always ready to fight, I feel.
MVP Phoenix, 3-man in the jungle. They spotted out net. Are they going to be able to catch him here? Looks like the dagger goes out. QL's going to be able to close that distance with the help of the surge. They easily get that one kill, but it was a 3-man rotation for a kill on an Ancient Apparition, not the highest priority target in the world.
And you know what? We spoke about leveling that sprint, but actually it kind of makes sense to me after seeing all these ganks. Like, Dox is actually surging Slaughter as well.
Yeah. ADTR, they're going to try and finish him off. They will be able to get that one kill with the help of the wall. And now DJ looks for the turnaround kill with Ion Shell going out. Ultimate comes out from Moosh. He's able to take one. They all drop low, and now the amplified damage on him. He can't fight this one. He tries it anyway, but he will go down to Febby. Ancient Apparition, is this a double? He picks up one on Febby. Farev, he's going to be ticking down. Looks like he's dead as well. He is. So double kill from Net.
I don't know if that was decisive. Probably wasn't.
Yeah, probably not. I think there was still a wealth of ticks left. Oh, they're going to try and pop Ohio there. The Brain Sap and the combo is enough. TP out from Solo Rank Warrior. Good call, as DJ could have chased him down with those phase boots. So kills all over the map. It's 10-11, 11 minutes in.
Yeah, and this is kind of C Dota at the moment. It's very exciting.
Oh, well, Cold Feet does a lot of damage right now, QO. You don't want to be fighting into that one. He knows he just has to kill Net right now, but the tornado hits him and he'll shatter. Oh, QO. Feast or famine, and it's all famine right now for him unless he's got a whole entire team behind him. Just every single time he tries for these solo plays, it doesn't work out.
At the same time, even with QO's game mostly being a famine so far, I feel like the pressure's on Moshi in this game. Because with all the heroes kind of rotating into fights, Anti-Mage is the only one that isn't really that suited to that, so he needs to make sure, I mean, so far so good, his farm's still increasing, but if at some point he starts going to fights and it's at the expense of farm, it's going to cost him a lot more than other heroes on the enemy team like the Phantom Assassin, the Tiny, or Darkseer, who don't mind occasionally joining in the fight. It doesn't really cost them their important progression time.
So much action, and it is a bit late in the game, so let's take a look at that net worth. We've got 5k on our Tiny at top of the board, but there is both the Animage and the Invoker right behind him. The Slardar and the Darkseer obviously doing better than the Doom. They've actually done pretty well with this whole dual lane. I guess the Tiny just offers so much damage that Scorched Earth can't really compare. And then the Brain Sap as well. It's just so much burst that the heal over time from Scorched Earth doesn't have a chance to actually keep Ohio alive.
Yeah, and you can kind of set it up nicely with the Nightmare, guaranteeing that you get the combo before the Scorched Earth even goes off, or just making sure you toss the hero and not some kind of creep or something.
Yeah, true. ADTR will be farming out the bottom lane. He went for, what do you think about this early cloak that he got? Obviously, he's going to be going the Orchid route, but just a base level in the cloak. Is this just because, you know, a Tiny core is always dangerous?
Yeah, it's got to be that. Tiny's got early blink. Starting to get burst
Ohio, he knows he's going to be caught here, so he turns around, Doom's up heavy. They get the silence onto solo rank warrior, so there's no toss. Now the interruption with the tornado with an ancient apparition ice blast over the top. They get one. Are they going to be able to get QO as well? Outside of the EMP range, jumps over to Febby, who's still ticking low. Now the wall. This is another turnaround as MVP Phoenix are going to be able to get a lot here. Bean's grip onto Mushi, but Dubu's interrupted by that level death. They picked up the Night Stalker, but Dubu may be going down. Turns around, gates off the Brain Sap. Jump in. Ohio, he's got amp damage on him with the critical. Goes out. Double critical. QO gets that one kill. Ultimate goes out for Mushi, but he doesn't have a blink. He dies to Forev, and MVP Phoenix are the ones who win the outfight. How the hell did that happen? It was such a great opportunity for Fnatic when they came in with that tornado and ancient apparition ice blast, but they just weren't able to finish off some of those heroes.
Yeah, it was a brilliant ice blast, but immediately after that, really good wall and vacuum. And I think that's important here. Forev's actually opted to max his vacuum ahead of his surge, which is pretty unusual on Darkseer these days. But I think anticipating like the level of action in this game, that you're going to want to go for a very early vacuum wall combo, and I think that's what turns the fight around there probably.
He's going to have a mech outright. So mech by 14 minutes, you're talking about a Blink Dagger at 20, Guardian Greaves by like 25, if you know everything goes at the same kind of pace for this Darkseer. He's going to be such a huge team fighter, especially he's got the levels as well. As you said,
got haste. He wants to go on Mushi.
Yeah, well, he'll have his opportunity. But ADTR was able to respond perhaps with Tornado or Cold Snap. At the same time, Dubu does go down to the Night Stalker, rotates across. It looks like they may still want to fight this mid, but I don't know. Even with 4 heroes, even if they brought Mushi in, he just needs to sit back and farm right now. He doesn't have his Battle Fury yet. And he's actually not even all that close. For 15.5 minutes in, he still needs the Claymore, so you're probably thinking about 17-minute Battle Fury. It's not the best timing in the world. And this is just the pressure that Darkseer and Slardar can put on you.
Yeah, and it's also that he's gone off to farm the jungle occasionally. He's gone to a few of these fights. In fact, the last 2 fights he went to and he died. Before that, it was going quite well for him, going to fights just making kills. And that's really going to be the concern in this game, because I don't think it's that bad if PA or Tiny go to fights and die. I think it's really bad if Anti-Mage, especially before his Battle Fury, goes to fight and dies. And
yeah,
actually MVP's kind of want to put another death into him, but with Tiny smoke revealed, they backed off a little bit. Not too sure if they've been exposed.
Good timing by Net, throwing down that defensive ward, and just so happens to pop the smoke on the Tiny at the exact same time. Now they should know that obviously Tiny's not going to be alone in the enemy jungle, so they're going to be playing really passive at both bottom as well as mid, knowing that there could be a rotation across ADTR. He's thinking about getting into that tier 1 tower range. In fact, he's just going to be jumped on by Febby with the Ion Shell, double blink action. They'll get the Invoker.
Big Ice Blast.
Yeah, he'll catch Febby here. Maybe they can get some extra damage. Dubu actually comes across, sleeps up Ohio. Try and go for this kill. Bean's grip on the side. There's nothing to interrupt. They get that kill quite easily. Now vacuum back. DJ, he's going to be jumped on by the Tiny here quite soon. He's got a full combination too. Tosses forward the Bane, gets the Brain Sap off, and the Avalanche to finish the kill. Fnatic just seem to be falling apart now ever since that top lane fight. It's been going pretty bad for them.
Yeah, and I think it also does come back to the anti-mage dynamic, because I think MVP realized, okay, they don't want anti-mage these fights, he needs to farm and catch up, but that means they're not going to be 5, and actually because they're not 5, what happens is Fnatic have decided, okay, we need to split up and farm, and it's not just that they're not 5, they're not even 4. You know, like the rest of the heroes are not grouped up ready to fight, they're not wanting to fight, they're wanting to stall a bit. And so when MVP gets the start of the fight, they kind of know, okay, we can just chase indefinitely, because we're a whole team, we're looking pretty strong, and they're definitely not ready for this. And it empowers them to play that sort of YOLO style they like to play.
DJ, he is about to get dove. Ice Blast comes through. Actually, Febby's going to be the one going down if DJ gets the Void, and he does. So the Phase Boots gives him the mobility necessary to catch him out. QO links over to the side. Tornado EMP combo will miss because of that, but look at all this defensive vision coming out from Fnatic. That's exactly how they were able to spot out that Slardar. Hit him with the Ice Blast.
That's what they need.
Yeah,
Speaking of the Ice Blast, I mean, Midas on net, especially in a game where they're under so much pressure, just speaks to the game that he's had. I think he's had a very good game on Ancient Apparition so far, in terms of turning around the lane, and then also in terms of pretty much every Ice Blast is hit, even in the fights that he's lost, like multiple heroes, almost always.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's level 9 as well is quite impressive. He's about to get to those like easy levels, like 10 to 11, I think is like one of the smaller experience levels required in order to make that jump. So he could have that second level of Ice Blast here in the next few minutes.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
That's quite substantial actually.
Structures
I mean, mostly what's going to matter then is Fnatic, once they start fighting, absolutely have to get the initiation.
Yeah.
I think if they get initiated on, it's maybe too late, because they still are, in many ways, one hero down in fights until Anti-Mage gets online, gets a couple more items. So they need to doom someone before that person does their things.
They are going to TP up. They didn't see Febby, who made the early TP into Tier 2 and is looking to make the initiation for the rest of his team, though. Febby's going to be there in time. The Avalanche and a 3-man crush. Beautiful setup with the amp damage onto ADTR. They'll be able to pick up that 1 kill. Now vacuum back, slow down with the dagger. Ohio is going to be run down as well. MVP Phoenix just strike with everything they have. In fact, Febby, he wants to look for even more here, sprinting forward and hoping to be able to catch another target with the blink, but everyone else from Fnatic does manage to stay one step ahead. Still, though, that was a beautiful rotation there from MVP Phoenix, especially Febby TPing early to the Tier 2 to set it all up. I think Fnatic thought they had more time to retreat than they actually did.
Yeah, Ohio was even like, it looked like he was hesitant, considering turning around, dooming something.
Nice pick off there on Febby. Ice Blast comes in through the middle lane. DJ picks it up.
Yeah, this is one of the great things about running that support Night Stalker. I think it's the second or third time we've seen it this game. Like in between team fights, Night Stalker just picks up a kill somewhere. Usually it's not that easy for the support to get to you that quickly or to solo kill you.
QO gonna be hit by the Doom here. This is a free kill. His team actually turned around and tried to go for the gank on mid. QO's actually getting some distance here. Now they have to turn around and fight against Ohio. MVP Phoenix successfully pushed back, and if they need to, they can get the deny, but it's not necessary. With the man coming out from Forev, it's all going to be fine. DJ's still going to push forward, though, hoping to be able to get to Dubu. Turn around, Forev gets hit by the Ice Blast. Doesn't really have anything, just body blocking up some of these heroes. Dubu, oh, we got off the Fiend's grip on it. DJ, they could actually get this kill and save the Bane, who was playing so aggressively earlier. Ohio's now going to be slowed down. Solo Rank Warrior has a blink in a second, as well as a toss. Blinks the wrong direction, gets net instead. Dubu almost dies to level death. In fact, the ultimate comes out from Mushi, but it's still not enough. Dubu's going to be able to get away, and Mushi, well, he may even die as well. Avalanche toss up in the air. Does not nearly enough damage, but they get the bash. Oh my god, they got the kill. ADTR goes down as well, and that's a wipe. MVP Phoenix. They just do not stop. They strike, and strike, and Fnatic, they're not ready for it. They get wiped 15 to 25 at 21 minutes in.
Yeah, Fnatic actually did start that fight, but just failed to convert. They didn't kill Cure, they got him really low in the Doom, and then Career brought him his BKB, turned around, bottled up BKB, it went straight back in, and it was essentially a Doom wasted at that point. Like, that's the point at which, if the Doom is finished, it's time, and the person you doomed is like happy to fight you, that's the point where you're like, okay, we shouldn't be in this fight anymore.
Not so fast.
DJ. Obviously can't do much about Roshan. I think MVP Phoenix are just trying to play around the Ice Blast. And that'd be bad time for him to be hit. If he actually ran down River and like Nightstalker was here and voided him, actually be a pretty free pickoff for DJ. Darkness makes things pretty tight for MVP Phoenix, but they still feel confident enough to take that Roshan without interruption. And with the tornado thrown out completely waft, that's going to be ADTR who's now going to be caught. He only has EMP. That's not even going to go off. He just gets bursted down. All they're doing is just using bodies to buy slightly more time for Mushi, but it's obviously not worth it. MVP Phoenix are getting just double the amount of farm that Mushi could ever hope for with just a Vlad and a Battle Fury.
Yeah, it's impressive, MVP Phoenix. They're playing a very fast-paced Dota 2 game here. Something that I think people praised the C-Deck a lot for at TI. Just like keeping the pressure up permanently, making the decisions quickly about when they're done with one objective going to the next one, when they're done with one gank going to the next one. And Fnatic don't get time to like collect their thoughts, react, decide how they want to like adjust the game plan.
Yeah, it keeps a team off kilter. Dubu is going to be doomed up. Mushi hit by that one. Slider was hit by the Ice Blast before he TP'd in. It looks like he's still going to be fine, though, because Fnatic just overwhelmed by MVP Phoenix's numbers. Ohio's still going to be caught here inside the trees. Solo Rank Warrior tries to go for him, but they really want to be able to get this AM. They still have amp damage on him. Febby has another sprint coming up, but there might just be too much mobility. Nope, Febby's going to get it. Hits Mushi. Can he get a bash? There's going to be another blink. Fiend's Grip is there to catch him out. Meanwhile, the Doom eventually was run down by our Tiny. So they got both the kills they were searching for.
It really makes the anti-mage pick look weak when we're watching like all these chase scenes with Slaughter sprint into blink, PA's blink, Tiny's blink, Darkseid's surge. There's so many ways to like negate the fact that he can blink away. So every time you think, oh, he's anti-mage, he'll blink away, and then they just catch him anyway. And I think that also speaks further to the point that Mushi had to focus more on his farm early on. And it's a brutal thing to say because he's still second on the net worth. It's not like far behind, but he kind of needed to be far ahead in this game, I think.
DJ is actually not that far away from the Aghanim Scepter, and that could be pretty important. We were talking about how Fnatic desperately need to actually find the initiation in these team fights, and Vision is kind of that first step. Maybe they could actually stem some of this aggression from MVP Phoenix if they do have that Ags, take away some of these aggressive wards, maybe just see some of these ganks coming before they're actually hit.
Yeah, you're gonna see people before they blink on you at least, so I think that's useful. But I mean, it just takes one or two big fights. Like Fnatic are not like far out of this game at all. They're behind. They're very clearly behind. But they win one or two fights. It's like Mushi's next item, and really like turns around the momentum of the game. And I don't think that's like outside of reach. We see a nice Ice Blast as we've been seeing. Invoker gets a nice combination at the start with the important Doom. Actually kill the person you doomed, or chase them to base at the very least. Don't let them be involved in the fight. They probably want to get some value out of anti-mage to win a fight though, and that's the...
Oh, it's nighttime. They just popped the darkness. MVP Phoenix, though, are going to be able to strike first. Febby doesn't find his blink initiation. Dubu and Solar Rank Warrior are still going to be able to get something here. They have the blink. Looks like they're going to go for net first. Misses the avalanche, turns around, manages to get off the Ice Blast onto Solar Rank Warrior and completes the stun. That was actually well worth it. They got the tower, and all they lost was their Ancient Apparition. MVP Phoenix not really able to get the same kind of initiations they had before.
And this Ancient Apparition, by the way, had a pretty early Midas. He's managed to use it to level up to 11 reasonably early, which is good. But in terms of the gold, he's only bought wards, essentially. It's like, I mean, he's the 5 position. There's a Night Stalker that's more important, so it's like Midas into wards.
This should make my life easier.
It's just like the Ags, right? Once you get the Ags gem, then Night Stalkers probably takes over, because you do need to get that Aghanims, I feel. Especially against the Guardian Greaves of Darks here.
Yeah, he'd like to get there. Yeah. It's exactly as they prioritize Aghanims.
See if it ever happens. Mushi gets caught. Found him. He's not going to be chased down here. In fact, he's going to turn things around. Gets the 2-man stun. Just hoping to be able to stall up Fnatic for the rest of his team to get here. And they do have such long-range initiation. As you can see, that dagger is able to catch DJ, and QO comes in. Big crit. Takes him out. They even look for more. Ohio doesn't even have Scorched Earth. Turns around, gets off the Doom. But that's only potential saving grace. QO not getting a critical just yet, but there's too many heroes. There's no way that MVP Phoenix aren't going to get that kill. The tornado comes through, but a triple kill for QO. 27 minutes in, they're going to push down these tier 2.
It's the feast side of feast and famine, right? Because QO is like your ultimate. There's a lot of teams that get into this position. They like clearly ahead, but they want to safely just go for objectives, and he's not going to do that. And I think often you can waste the advantage you have when that's your approach. And QO, you can kind of count on like he's got Aegis, he's got BKB. Okay, Aegis is actually gone now, but
did you see what Febby just tried to do?
no, I didn't.
So he puts amp damage on the Satyr, and then he draws the aggro, and he's going to try and force staff the Satyr onto this cliff. So then the Satyr temporarily acts as a ward for the 25 seconds that he has amp damage on it.
That is incredibly cute. That's.
I'm not sure how, like, 25 seconds, like, is it worth all that effort for 25 seconds of vision? I mean, you never know, I guess.
I mean, at least he's innovating. Well, Mushi might be in trouble here.
Mushi is going to be hit by that stun. Sounds gets thrown out. Nice force staff and a glimmer cape there to save the slaughter. Jump in from behind. QO starts going on to net. They get off the ice blast with the BKB. QO doesn't really care. The ultimate laid out onto Forev, and he might take out. In fact, he will, but still, Mushi manages to escape. Ohio surrounded by 2. And yeah, oh, Jesus, Mushi. He's not going to get out. QO managed to chase him down behind the tier 3 tower. MVP Phoenix, they just don't quit.
That's again, I mean, the initiation, if you had just zoomed in on like where the fight started, it looked pretty bad for MVP. It looked like they dived in too far, 2v4, but everyone's so mobile and so farmed, and they just got there really quickly. It's like any sort of fight starts, and the MVP's players are kind of that side of the map. They're gonna all get there, and they're gonna win the fight at this rate.
So tier 3 tower is going to go down. Not going to try and push for more though. 20 seconds until Mushi is back up. They do have, I believe Roshan's coming up soon. So they could just control this game for the next 3 or 4 minutes. PA can get a basher.
ADTR is still not got his orchid. He just needs the recipe now, but if you consider the fact that he had the first Oblivion staff about 15 minutes ago or something absurd like that, really difficult in this game.
Here's that basher for the PA. Dubu. Uh-oh. Well, that's a free pickoff. Or not. What just happened?
Nobody wanted to use the disable. I guess Nightstalker wasn't in range of the Void, and they didn't want to use the Doom or the Mana Void.
It just seems so. I mean, any pickoff is a pick. Like any pickoff is worth it at this point. It's just so surprising to me that Mushi didn't throw out that Mana Void.
Yeah, it is actually, because it's pretty ambitious to think that you're gonna like in the near future get a really good opportunity to use Mana Void.
Yeah. Only 70 seconds cooldown as well. It's not like it's a huge investment. Ohio, really going to be able to jump in here. Ice Blast, they just had a TP out, but it doesn't seem to matter. The Doom gets laid out. Looks like that Ice Blast, it'll finish off Solo Rank Warrior and Forev. So a nice double there for Net, well worth the cost of the Doom, but at the same time, they've lost their Night Stalker in the top lane, so not worth it quite as much. It's funny, they jumped him right as PA, I think, like TP'd up to the top lane. So it seemed a little bit, perhaps a lack of coordination from MVP Phoenix, but it still worked out.
Yeah, I mean, Fnatic stayed in the game, held their base. That's something, I suppose. But
keep the game going on a little bit longer. Never know what could happen.
Yeah, you don't know, but it's difficult to imagine at this point. I feel like, you know, if Santa Claus could come and like bring Mushi 2 more items, maybe the game gets interesting, but
it's a Christmas miracle.
I don't know where else he's gonna get them at this point.
Yeah, it's certainly not, because he's only got the Manta style recipe, not even the full Manta. Still needs the expensive Ultimate Orb, and obviously Manta isn't going to be enough to really change this game, because Mushi, like, his net worth is not terrible. The problem is he's got no supporting crew behind him whatsoever. He's sitting at 11k while there's 4 other heroes on the side of MVP Phoenix. And you might as well call them cores, since Slaughter is one of them, and you know, support Slaughter that has a good game is practically a core. You know, he's surrounded by 4 cores all around the same network.
So she's just jumped into Cure at the top lane, and I think this might be his death.
Oh, Jesus. That crit almost finished him. survives off of 50 HP. They just saw the spawn on Roshan though, so immediately the TP comes out from QO. They're gonna take this Aegis and probably just push down mid.
Yeah, I think it goes back to some extent to the draft. It's kind of like Fnatic realized early on MVP is going to keep forcing these fights, and it's like, does Anti-Mage just ignore them and farm, or does he try and contribute? And early on, it felt like the contributions weren't too bad. The first Mana Void was really good.
Yeah.
But there's that opportunity cost of like when he's coming to fights and it's not working out and he's dying. That kind of like undermines their own game plan, but they're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Like right now, oh, the tornado! Solo rank warrior didn't actually blink in, and he just ran in for the avalanche, which means the tornado missed him. Mushi does still get away. Now the ice blast. They're gonna go on to Febby here. Looks like a free kill there as MVP Phoenix are gonna come in through the side as well. They're still gonna fight this one out. Ohio's Blade Mail does chase away the Tiny for the time being. They're gonna jump back in. Maybe go for a toss play. QO. Oh, he tries to get Ohio. Managed to get the bash. They will be able to finish him off. QO. Pop the BKB, will look for more here. But who's he really want? Losing out on vision, can't really do much there against the darkness.
Yeah, that's about the worst the fight could go for MVP, and it's still 1-for-1 trade. And remember, Slaughter's actually one of their supports, so support for core. Still slightly favorable for them, but I would say they're in a position where they should get a much more favorable trade than that out of a fight. So
yeah,
it's a good hold from Fnatic for now.
Especially now with the Abyssal complete on QO, that's just a free kill outright. Jump somebody, use the Abyssal, and just one crit. That should be a kill. 1,666 damage from that crit.
Ned's actually felt pressure into going for that Ghost Scepter, so not going to try scale towards that Agnum Scepter. I guess feeling like he needed something now. And Ghost Scepter could really be an annoyance for Q, I suppose. If he tries to focus Ned straight away, because then he's used his first blink in the fight, it exposed himself.
I think that makes a decent amount of sense, especially since I'm not sure how you feel about it, but we've seen a lot of these more in combat. Two-man vacuum, Fiend's Grip on Ohio, but this is still Fnatic in a good position. The Ice Blast is going to miss, unfortunately. Dubu gets clipped, but will be able to survive. They just bought time, though.
Yeah, Cure's not around, so I don't think MVP really want to take a fight. I wonder if Fnatic get baited into looking for a fight when they see Cure at this top lane. Because even though MVP don't really want to fight, I think Fnatic actually still lose a 5v4 fight if they go into like a split position.
Yeah, I think so as well. Do you consider trading out your treads for Boots of Travel at this point on the PA? Because you have the damage, you have your BKB, you have like all the essentials of fighting, and now it's just dealing with some of the split pushing by the Animage.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable consideration. I mean, he might be a little bit worried about like dropping the attack speed, because he doesn't really have any other attack speed item.
Right.
But I don't know if he's even going to have to make that decision, to be honest, because it looks like they're going for their axes right here, and
yeah, the game may
just
just
going for a really weird wraparound.
I think they're just like so desperate to find like this magical initiation where they get a free pick off on somebody first. MVP Phoenix are going to start hitting onto this melee racks. Oh, jump forward. Oh my god, he just takes out the Invoker in 2 shots. And Fnatic, now the rest of them are coming in from behind. It's an awkward initiation to say the least. DJ is going to be jumped on with the amp damage. They don't even need a crit at this point. Ohio, he's trying to deal with solo rank warrior. Mushi comes forward as well, but oh, the bash comes out. Bad timing for that one, right as he was about to blink away. And there's the GG QO. This man just cannot be stopped. The amp damage, he just destroys people. There's the crit on the blade mail, but they needed that a long time ago, because that only took away the Aegis.
It's like the draft, because I feel like Mushi actually played much better early on in the game than Cure did, but it didn't matter that much that Cure had like a few like needless deaths early on, whereas it mattered a lot that Mushi had a couple of those deaths.
Right. Well, game number 1. I mean, there was a lot of... it was pretty back and forth in the first, like, what, 10 minutes? It was like 10 to 11 by 10 minutes. An insane number of kills and really action-packed. Fun to cast, but it very much, I think ever since that top fight, there was a mid-engagement before that as well that went to MVP Phoenix. Like, between those 2 engagements, it just all of a sudden snowballed so heavily. But if Fnatic can actually, like, if we see the same kind of game in game number 2, I could just as easily see it snowballing to the favor of Fnatic, especially with perhaps a a bit different draft, but we'll see what happens. We're going to take a short break. Game number 2 will be on its way.
Ladies and gentlemen, on this 5th day of July, in the year 2050, I, Lady Gillespie, am proud to present to you Toothless Hawkins and his robot jazz band. 1, 2, 3, 4.